Hey everybody, I'm Scott Willoughby, Director of Game Operations Success here at Playfab. We wanted to do a quick little whiteboard video. We've had a lot of questions about how user attribution tracking works in the mobile gaming space in particular. How do you know, how can you tell when you're placing ads on mobile websites or even on standard websites or in mobile games? How do you know when a user who clicks on that is coming to your game? How do you know that drives an install? It's a little bit different than the world of web advertising that some of us may be a little more familiar with. So I wanted to kind of walk you through how that sort of attribution works and why it's really important to be able to know and really important to be able to follow. So I've got a couple things drawn up here on the whiteboard. This first top line is what a lot of you might be familiar with from web advertising, standard digital advertising on the internet. You have a user who comes into a website, they see an ad for something and they click it, and you know you're going to track how much you spent on that click. Maybe it's a Google search result, maybe it's a web banner somewhere. When they click through that, they're either clicking through a referral link or getting a cookie that's going to take them to the target website. And then if they buy something there, a little bag of money in this case, when they buy something, that's tracked as a conversion. And you follow this path all the way back to the user. You get money on your website and you can follow that user's purchase back to the ad they came from that they clicked on, how much you spent on that ad, and where that user came from. Full cycle. You know who that user was from the time they arrived at your website, where they came from, to the time they make a conversion on your website or don't. You can follow their whole life cycle and attribute all of that activity to a particular ad in the particular place you were running that ad. And most importantly, to how much you spent on that ad. What was the cost of acquisition? What was the value of the user after you got them? Here's the problem with mobile. You don't have that full cycle to follow. You have a user come in, they play maybe another game, and they see your ad, and again, in an interstitial in that game, you know, you're running ads through one of the many mobile ad service providers. They click that ad, and you get charged for that click, but then there's a roadblock. You can't follow that user anymore because this click takes them to the App Store, the Play Store, or wherever, to go install the app. You don't control the Play Store, and the Play Store doesn't give you any information about where that click came from, how that user performed after they got there. You hit a dead end right here. So then the only thing you know beyond that is that there was an install of your game. User installs from the App Store, the Play Store, wherever, Windows Mobile Store, and you see that there's an install in your app, but you don't know who that user is. You know, you've got all these users coming in, but you don't know where they came from. You just know they came in. You don't know if they were organic discovery, if they came through from a friend's referral, if they came through from one of the many ads you were running. So you never know. It's really hard to get the ROI on this click. You don't know the value of it. You just know the cost of it. So what mobile attribution tracking partners do is they take this user, and when they click on an ad, they look at the person who's clicking and they sort of create a fingerprint for him, right? They make a little fingerprint for this guy. That's my awesome fingerprint drawing. If any of you have fingerprints that look like that, the FBI is going to know you committed a crime immediately if they ever see your prints. But what they do is they look at their IP, they look at their location, they look at their device, they look at the version of the software they're using, they look at all these little indicators to create a profile and a fingerprint for this user. Then, on the app side, because you have your app connected to them through an API, through an SDK, when a user comes in, they look at all these people coming in as soon as they install your game and start running it. And they look at all these fingerprint characteristics for all of these people, and they see, oh wait, look, this guy right here, this one has the same IP, the same location, the same device model, the same software version, all these other little indicators that match that fingerprint. And they look at the time and they're like, oh, this install came right after somebody who looked virtually identical to this person clicked this ad on this site at this cost on this day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they say, this is this guy. This ad cost this much, was run on this site at this time, and was responsible for this install. So you now are able to do things like pay for ads, not based on a cost per click, but on a cost per install basis if you want. Possibly more importantly and vastly more powerfully, these can then continue to track this player after the install event and look at things like, do they spend money in the game? Do they invite friends? Do they bring more people into the game? Do they, complete a tutorial? Do they play multiplayer? Do they do any of these things that you, as a game studio and as a business, value them doing in your game? So then you can start looking at it like, okay, you can look at direct ROI. Am I making money off of these ads that I'm spending here? How much money are the users I'm getting they're generating for me, and how much am I paying for them? So you can get direct ROI analysis. You can also look at engagement. Are my ads on Facebook providing me more engaged users? Are my ads on, through a particular game network providing me more engaged users? Because sometimes the cheapest users aren't always the best users. Your goal should be to get users that are high quality, highly engaged, and monetizing ideally, right? You want to look at the value you're getting for your ad spend money, not just the volume. So these partners, and these are Kochava and mobile app tracking and Appifier, and there's a bunch of them out there. They all kind of do the same model, and they take people and this is exactly what they do. They just watch the people, they watch the installs, match them up, and are able to tell you which ads are performing best based on the users you're getting out of them and how those users are performing after the install. This is why it's so important, right? You can't do much if you're cut off here. All you know is how much money you're spending and how many users you're getting. But you don't know which money is the good money, which money is the bad money, how any of it's performing. So you can't optimize your spend. You're just firing blind. You're throwing money at the problem and not able to make any intelligent optimizations about it other than the cost per click. If somebody's getting you a lot of volume for cheap clicks, but those might not be good users. So I'm a massive, massive advocate of using a mobile tracking software, a mobile attribution software platform if you're doing mobile gaming, because it's absolutely critical that you know this post-install behavior and are even able to just track installs connected back to an initial ad campaign. So if you're doing a mobile game, I highly, highly suggest that you go and look at some of these providers and find one that you can integrate with your systems. Many of them integrate very nicely with Playfab, and you'll start spending a lot more effectively and getting much better users for your dollar.